ground shake.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. All right, I'm hanging with the amigos. We got Brandon and Mike, and it is another episode of Truck Talk Tuesday. We're at the 2019 Detroit Auto Show, and we're in the Ram booth. Check it out. We got the 2500, is it 2500 or 1500?
Yeah, 2500.
2500 Power Wagon. This thing is sweet. Let me do a quick little walk around. Brandon, Mike, you guys can weigh in if you guys want.
You got your wedge up at the front.
6.4, this is a gas, right?
This is a HEMI.
It's got the gas HEMI?
It's got a HEMI.
All right, a lot of you guys wanted to see all the new Rams. Let me do a quick little walk around. And here is the backside of the truck. You know, this truck needs a proper review. If only we had somebody that was more technical, that knew more about trucks on Truck Talk Tuesday.
Oh, wish granted.
Wish granted. What do we have here?
What's going on, guys? Big Truck, Big RV here with the three amigos, I guess is the new name for the team.
It's another episode of Truck Talk Tuesday. We got JD behind the camera with Big Truck, Big RV. And this guy knows his trucks. And I know you guys have been enjoying watching all of him, his commentary and him weighing in. So don't forget to subscribe to his channel. But let's do a walk around on the 2500 Ram, because this thing is actually pretty dope.
Absolutely. So guys, first of all, 2500 Power Wagon. This is the only body it comes in. Right,
okay.
So when you get a Power Wagon, it's going to be in a 2500 series truck. It's going to only have the 6.4 liter gas V8. There's no diesel option for it, primarily because of weight reduction. It reduces the weight of that big, heavy Cummins from the front. Most people that get this truck probably aren't really going to complain about it, because that is one heck of a powerful gas engine that's in it.
Totally.
Ram boxes are really, really cool. They give you a lot of functionality, especially in lawn care landscape. I can really see how you could utilize these to hold adult beverages, right? Adult beverages.
Yeah, adult beverages.
Throw some ice in there.
Yeah, riding lawnmowers, right?
Cooler full of Red Bull and Monster during the summer. Yeah. We're trying to make time and the storms are coming.
Yes.
But this has been an invention that Ram's had for a while, and it's such a useful, practical use of a space that most people just really wouldn't be using.
I agree.
You know?
This is super cool.
Now, the nice thing about the Ram box is you can get it on virtually any Ram, so it doesn't have to be a Power Wagon. You can get this on anything from a half-ton all the way up to a dually. Okay. It gives you a lot of space. What you do need to be careful of is if you're going to be pulling something like a gooseneck or a fifth wheel, mainly because when it's closed, the actual width of this top rail right here can prevent clearance when you're turning with larger trailers. Okay. So as a 3/4 ton truck, you do have the capability of towing like a fifth wheel or a toy hauler or a gooseneck trailer, a utility trailer, but just be aware that you have to be careful that whichever trailer you have has the clearance to clear that rail.
Yeah, it looks like the inside dimensions of the box are a little bit smaller than what you typically have on a Ram pickup truck.
Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. So mainly because the Ram boxes take up the space that your wheel wells would normally be in.
Yes.
However, you still have enough room to easily fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood back here.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of the goal. You don't lose the ability to put construction materials or things that might be a little wider back here. Sure. Typically, things that might be wider would normally sit on the wheel wells anyways, and this just gives you that normal flat platform to work with. Plus, you have the rail system on the side, which gives you the ability to tie things down that are heavy. This is a very useful truck for your industry because it does give you quick access to the things you might need in the side. Let's say small fuel tanks, oil, things that you might need for your equipment out there, as well as maybe, you know, replacement blades, that type of stuff. If it's not oversized, you can generally fit it in the Ram boxes.
That was the first thing I noticed when I walked up, because I do have like a big Husky toolbox that I leave in the back of my truck, and that takes up a lot of storage space. Yeah. So that was the first thing that grabbed my attention.
Bungee cords, toe straps, tie down straps.
Exactly. And while we're back here, let's note this doesn't have that additional fold down tailgate. There's no little side steps here like we've seen on some of the other trucks. Do they have that option?
Not on this specific truck, but, and I can't tell without looking at the side here, it does have the amp step. So if you take your foot right there and press down on that little tab with your foot.
Press down?
Press down a little hard. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's
it pops out. And I think that is one of the best types of steps to have back here because it functions in all configurations. It helps you when the truck beds down. You don't have to step up as high to the bumper as you might with the GM step in the bumper.
Exactly.
And
I like that that's lower.
Yep.
Like
that's also a feature that you'll see on Nissan trucks as an option as well.
Cool.
So the Nissan Titan can come equipped with that same step. And it's optional even on Ford trucks.
Oh,
so
really?
Brian could get that added to his truck if he felt that, you know, you wanted another way to step up into it if you have a step on the back. And where that comes in really handy is if you have, let's say, a large box trailer back here, or you're in a situation where you can't lower your step, that still gives you full access to getting into the tailgate in the bed of your truck.
I like it. That's actually pretty cool.
And it just folds back in really
It just
easy.
folds back up with your foot. It's actually spring loaded. So when you start to put it up, it'll just kind of shoot up into place. Fold it backwards. Just pull up.
Pull up?
There you go, push back. Pull up and push back. There you go.
That was easier than I thought.
That's one of those scenarios where you can easily overthink it.
Yeah.
All right. Of course, you're going to get the Goodyear Wrangler tires on here, which is an all-terrain, more of a mud utility tire. Very, very good tire. Bilstein shocks come on the Power Wagon, so it's going to have a smoother ride than you might think.
You know, I've always said I like the Rams. I think the Rams are one of the more aggressive, more masculine-looking trucks. I just had a better deal work out for me for a Ford truck, but I've always liked the Rams. I steered clear of them from, you know, the stories from 10 years ago about all the transmissions and some ugly, you know, horror stories that we've all heard. But some of the newer ones that are coming out, I kind of like them. I've always been a closet Ram guy.
You know, once we get into the interior, you'll see just how different Rams are from the past. That was probably their weakest point in the past, was the interior, as well as the materials that they used. They had dash problems with cracking in the hot sun over a period of time and just not holding up well. The new dashes in these Rams, the new interiors, are simply amazing.
Is that right?
When we get inside, I think you're really going to like it.
Wow.
Front LED lighting, LED light strip here. Both lights are LED. Everything on this truck is LED, including your turn signals. And what I can say is that the headlights on this truck outperform any other truck.
Is that right? Really?
And I mean the new Ram LED headlights easily outperform Ford and General Motors in terms of light output and the width of light, how much light actually gets on the road.
Okay.
Now here's one thing to keep in mind, and you guys can probably explain this to me better than anybody.
Sure.
So there has been rumors that have floated around as the reason why trucks are still offered with halogen lights and not just purely LED is because they heat up more, and that heat can help snow or ice that collect on them melt easier.
Yes. Right.
Is that a real concern here with lighting, or does it actually melt off?
100%. We've seen it even on the difference with our snow plows. Brian has a newer Boss snow plow, and they've gone to the LED lights versus I have some older ones that are, it's a difference between brand new and maybe 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
the older halogen style. Mine, it melts and melts, versus the few times we've got together, you start getting some icicles on there, even iced over. So that is a thing. You have to get like a brutal snowstorm, but a lot of wind, snow going sideways, temperatures below 15 degrees. Yeah, it'll start piling up in here.
So that's a question also. So you have the LED lighting package on your F-250.
I do.
Have you ran into an experience where snow builds up or ice builds up? Because you get pretty extreme snow.
Yeah, you will see the C-channel light on the F-250 100% will be icicled over. Not on the center usually, if I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but I will see it on the outside of the light, because all that wind that comes off the plow when we're plowing late night, like Mike said, thinking out loud, I have seen it ice up. So I don't think it's ever hindered my ability to see or any lighting that's coming out, because the lights are just so overwhelming. And not only that, we're running the plow lights.
Yes.
So now that I think about it, but I have seen them ice up.
And it might actually diffuse the light a little bit by having it on there. So it's going to have a consequence to a lighting if the lighting system doesn't melt it off. Now the other reason why they still exist, and this is one that I actually got from a Ford engineer, is the fact that they're a lot less expensive to replace for fleet owners.
Oh yeah.
So if you run thousands of trucks and you're constantly getting rocks in them and they're yellowing or they're getting broken, you know, the aftermarket for headlights is vast, and you can buy stock looking aftermarket headlights for a couple $100, whereas anybody knows to find a good set of LED lights for your truck are going to be a lot of money unless you're just putting a bulb in.
I think on the F-250s are $1,100, weren't they?
Yep.
As an upgraded.
As an upgrade.
On a $60,000
And now the
truck.
aftermarket ones are $1,500 if you just want to put aftermarket ones on.
Is that right? Wow.
So let's go and take a look inside of this truck.
You want to hop in the driver?
Real quick though, I noticed that, because we used to have a 2005 Ram 2500, one of my favorite features was that these folded up and folded out. I really like that with the trailer. That was like one of my all-time favorite, because when they're folded in, the mirrors suck. But when you do this, you can actually see further out. That was one of my things that I missed when we got rid of that truck.
So you just brought up my pet peeve with Ram, is that they haven't changed the design of the mirrors to one that's always up.
Yeah.
If you look at a Chevy truck, do you have tow mirrors on your truck?
I do not, but I know that's pretty standard with a lot of the 2500s and the 3500s now, is you get that fixed piece.
I do.
Your truck, well, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, you would like if they were always up like this, but you could move them in and out.
That's what I would prefer, but I like that they didn't get rid of it. It's better than getting rid of it and it just being in the entire time. But yeah, if you're right, I hadn't even thought about that. If they were up and then you had the ability to adjust them this way, that'd be great.
That's kind of the thing with GM and Ford, is it looks like this mirror, but always in the up position, and they slide in and out. And with Ram, they've had this style for a while where they flip up. They look great. They're awesome visibility when they're up, but when they're down, it throws off the spot mirror. It kind of throws everything off a little bit. Your spot mirror seems less effective. You don't trust it as much. And what I was just recently told by the actual engineers today is that the spot mirror itself on some of these trucks can be optioned with an electronic adjusting spot mirror.
Wow.
So
that was one of the mirrors was one of the talking points on Stanley's video recently, why he didn't like his Ram.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because Stanley didn't like, he said there were some of the worst mirrors on any truck that he's bought, and he's got all of them. So 3 or 4 different trucks now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you want to head inside?
We need to check out the interior because, like JD said, one of the nicer interiors that I've seen, and a lot of you guys have weighed in on Instagram wanting to see the inside, but you told me to check it out because I live in my truck and I want creature comforts, okay? Not everybody drives a 250 XL or XLT or WT truck, I should say. You know, I live in my truck, I want creature comforts, and everybody said the new interior of the Ram is something to look at, so let's go check that out. Interior's sweet.
So we are inside of this Power Wagon now, and there is a lot to love about this truck other than the fact that they didn't leave the keys so we can't turn on the 12-inch display. However, a 12-inch display is simply nuts in a pickup truck. That being said, it's kind of becoming the new standard to go as large as possible with your screen size. But take a look at the materials. Just everything about the truck screams high quality.
Agreed.
You know, they measured the speed of how pockets opened and how flaps opened and everything associated to the experience you would want as a truck owner, and the touch, the feel. And I really think they nailed it. Now, one thing I like is if you look at the little switch pad there right below the navigation screen, you'll notice that there's no blank area. There's a blank area where there's no switch, but they didn't try to put a fake switch there.
Yes.
Right, yep.
You know, if there's no switch there, they simply left it completely blank. And the real switches are the only functional switches. Trailer brake control is right next to it, very convenient for most people. The shifter is going to be a little different for some folks. The shifter is actually up top there. It's a rotary knob shifter.
Yeah.
But that's, again, kind of becoming the standard with shifting vehicles nowadays, especially with transmissions that are either 8 or 10-speed transmissions. All push-button 4-wheel drive. You can see down below you have 2 USB, 2 USB-C, an auxiliary port, and across from it on the other side you have your 400-watt AC outlet. Now, why is that important? Because most trucks in the past only offered 120-watt connection, or maybe 150 watt on the high side.
Right.
Now you have a 400 watt AC converter up front, and you have a 400 watt one here in the rear.
No way.
That gives you just a ton of flexibility when it comes to connecting tools, maybe battery packs,
Yeah.
you know, anything you might need in the field, and knowing you're not going to stress out the truck in terms of overloading the wiring.
You could hook like a compressor up to this.
You can,
Like
yeah.
a shop compressor.
I can charge all my M12 batteries. I think the M18 Milwaukee's are over that 400 watt rating or whatever they are. But I like the oversized buttons and the knobs. Like if you have gloves on, work gloves, and the switches, you can still, they're not tiny, I hate tiny buttons.
Yeah, you're right. You could hop in here and make adjustments.
Have
With work
mechanic gloves on,
or winter gloves. Like, yeah.
Well, one thing that was really nice that you're seeing in all the trucks, no matter how technical they're getting with their navigation systems, they're still keeping some buttons. They're still keeping the ability for you to adjust your fan speed, your temperature up and down, your front and rear defrosters, AC control, recirculative air. All of that stuff is still textile buttons that you can physically press, so you don't have to go through menu items to get to them. And I think a lot of people appreciate that when they look at a truck like this.
Definitely, all the common
The
controls.
hazard light isn't like up here somewhere and you're looking for it. It's right there.
JD, question, is there a tray or a bottom shelf spot that goes over the transmission area?
There's not one that comes with it for this specific truck. Now, if you got this truck equipped with a full center console, then you would have that capability. But because the shifting for four-wheel drive is down on the bottom and your front and rear differential locking system is right there. Your push button right next to the rotary knob to the left, you have those two buttons. One locks the front, one locks the rear differential. So basically you can have all four wheels spinning at all times without any of them slipping. So that's a really, really great feature. And then right below it, you have that little axle button right there, and that disconnects the sway bar up front. Again, and that gives you more range of motion for tire clearance. So if you're going to be rolling over things, it allows the actual suspension to move more. And then your four-wheel drive controls are down on the floor.
Is there a electronic shift on the fly, like on the Fords that we have?
No, and they did that on purpose with this specific truck because they knew a lot of people that wanted the Power Wagon wanted more of the traditional four-wheel drive control. So that's why they put it down there.
This isn't your typical lawn care landscaping truck necessarily, right? This is a little bit more of a... Who would this exactly be targeted to?
It's you wouldn't probably say your typical lawn care landscaping company would look to buy a truck like this, but I would imagine that a lot of business owners in that field would, because it is a very capable truck, and if you can get out to areas that maybe normally you'd have to rent a bulldozer, you'd have to actually go out in some other vehicle, this vehicle can do it. This can get you to just about anywhere. And I know that you work in areas where the ground might be muddy, it might be wet.
Sure.
You know, if you're pulling a trailer, having the ability to know that you can get out can come in really handy. Having a 12,000 pound Warren Xeon winch in the front of it means that you can move tree stumps, means that you can move tractors that get stuck. You can use this in a very commercial setting very easily.
Yeah, this is like the big boss's truck. Like he was saying, you could use the winch to get some equipment that's stuck up and going, but you can come back in here and it's got all the creature features. You go back, take a conference call in here. But you've got the ability to get in on rough job sites. Yeah, you're right. It almost supersedes our industry and gets in almost more like the construction industry for how this thing is built and the job sites that it's probably able to get in and out of. It's going lawn to lawn and just staying on the pavement through a subdivision. This is like overkill for that, but at the same time, this is, like I said, probably like the big boss's truck.
Well, you know, I think based on what we've covered so far on Truck Talk Tuesday from the auto show, it looks like Mike's going to get dibs on the Power Wagon because he's a Ram guy. Brandon's going to get the new Chevy or Sierra, and then I'll just stick with the Fords and we'll cover all three for you guys.
I had a love-hate relationship with my Ram, but it was a 2005, and I think they've addressed a lot of those issues that caused me to back away from the brand.
I do have to say, I do like this old style way of changing into two-wheel and four-wheel,
rather than a little button,
right? Because with the knob, I've experienced with my truck that I have. They say to keep it in auto, but I have put my gear into 4, and it did get stuck. It did not allow me to switch back to auto or two-wheel. So I do like this option.
It's a very convenient option. At the same time, it's very traditional. A lot of people like traditional feel with pickup trucks, especially those folks who still want manual pickup trucks or those who just want regular cab. This is just kind of that extra extension because a lot of people that get this truck will plan on using it out in Moab. They'll plan on taking it really out in the country, and they want a vehicle that gives them the four-wheel drive feel, the tools they need like a front and rear locking differential, plus the technology they're looking for. This is really the all-around truck as long as you don't need a diesel.
Yeah. Question, I think on our old Ram, and I could be speaking off base here, but if I recall, it had more of the auto shifter to go from four-wheel drive to two-wheel drive, and I want to say the front hubs auto locked when you took it to four-wheel drive. Is this going to require manual, like on some of our Ford trucks where you can put it in 4, but you got to go out and pop the caps and actually lock the hubs?
No, this one actually locks with the front button.
Sweet.
Good.
So that's a nice feature of this truck. And you can still get full push button four-wheel drive in some of the other trucks, like the Limited that's next to us.
Okay.
I like it. It's a sharp interior. I like the, is this carbon fiber or something like that?
It's kind of a wannabe textured plastic.
Knockoff. It's a nice interior though.
But look, feel the dash. The dash is all soft touch materials.
There's big
Very
speaker
nice
up here.
Yep. Everything's
For sure.
really nice about these trucks now. You're hard pressed to hop into a truck and absolutely hate it or find things that you don't like.
Right.
You know, I can hop out of my truck and I wish the interior of my truck looked like this, and I drive a Ford.
I gotta say, this is the best looking truck I've been inside of.
Yes, yeah, I hopped
far.
in and went, wow.
It's a sharp truck. I definitely agree. I've always had a closet, you know, like for the Rams, but we'll see. Who knows?
Anyways, guys, let's look for the next truck to view.
All right.
Let's do it.
We'll be back soon.